This is video 1 about how to find the area of trapezoids. Our goal for this video is to determine the area of a trapezoid. Before we get started, let's remind ourselves how to find the area of a triangle. Remember, our formula is area equals base times height divided by 2. And remember that the base and height must create a right angle. So we have 4 yards and 5 yards, and these are the sides that create that right angle. So we don't need 7 and we don't need 5.1. So my base is 4, my height is 5, and I will divide by 2. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 divided by 2 is 10. So my area is 10 yards squared. Okay. For a trapezoid, let's first decide what a trapezoid is. So a trapezoid has 4 sides and has exactly 1 pair of parallel sides. So in this case, we have a top and a bottom, and those are our parallel sides. The other sides are not parallel, okay? They would cross if you continued to create that. It's almost like you have a triangle that you cut the top of it off, okay? Each of the parallel sides is a base of the trapezoid. Therefore, the trapezoid has 2 bases. You could set it on this base, or you could turn it over and set it on this base. The height of the triangle is a line segment that's drawn from one base to the other. It's kind of like a connector. So this right here is my height because it is connecting my top base to my bottom base, and it also has to be perpendicular. So it has to create a right angle. So my slanted sides here and here, those are not heights, those are just side lengths, okay? Because they do not create a right angle. You can determine the area of a trapezoid by dividing the figure into similar shapes, okay? We can see that this trapezoid has a triangle on the left, a rectangle in the middle, and a triangle on the right. And the dashed segments are perpendicular to the bases of the trapezoid. Therefore, I have my total base here, and I also have my height here. And that would also be the height over here as well. And then 15 represents dashed line to dashed line. So at the top, that would also be 15. Now I want to show you the formula to find area of a trapezoid, okay? So let's watch this. So as you see, and you're not gonna be able to hear their voice because it doesn't work through the computer, but what they're showing us is a trapezoid. And they are going to show us how to find the formula of the trapezoid. They're also calling it a trapezium, which is another name for it, okay? But they're showing us first that our parallel sides are labeled A and B. Those are our bases, okay? And then our height, you can see, is 4 spaces high, okay? So watch what they do next. Now they're going to cut the trapezoid in half. So the bottom part below the slanted, before the dashed line is 2 units high, and above the dashed line is 2 units high. Now they're going to flip the top over and connect it to the right-hand side. So they're going to rotate the top part over to the right. So watch this. This is going to create a shape that we've already learned about. I want you to think to yourself, what kind of shape is that? And hopefully you remember that that's a parallelogram. So in order to make that parallelogram, we are cutting the height in half, and then we are putting base A and B together at the bottom to create one long base. Okay? Now they're changing it even more to make it even easier, and they took that little triangle off the side and they're connecting it to the other side. Now we see that we have a rectangle. Okay? And the formula for a rectangle is base times height. What you have to remember is that we're adding our bases, B and A, for one big base. And we also have to take the height and cut it in half because we chopped it in half. So they're changing the height to 1/2 height. And then they're going to remind you that you need to add B and A. And there's your formula for finding the area of a trapezoid. The formula is 1/2 times the height times base A plus base B. So let's give it a try. Okay, so again, the formula is something you may not remember at first, so you could maybe find a note card and write that down, and you could even have a note card with all of your formulas so far written on it, okay? But it's going to be, and here's how I actually like to do it. I like to do the height times base 1 plus base 2, and then I like to divide by 2 at the end. Dividing by 2 is the same thing as multiplying by half. You can also do 1/2 the height times base 1 plus base 2. Whichever you prefer will give you the area. The trickiest part is deciding, okay, what is a base, what's base 1, what's base 2, and what's the height. Remember that your bases are your parallel sides. So this side is parallel to the bottom. That's base 1 and base 2. It really doesn't matter. They're both a base. And then the height is the line perpendicular to those two bases. So what line connects them? And 12.7 and 9 do. But 9 is going to be the height because 9 is the perpendicular line. It's the one that creates that right angle on either side. So now we're ready to go. My height is 9. One of my bases is 9 and one of them is 18. And then at the end I'll divide by 2. So I'm going to follow order of operations and I'm going to do my parentheses first. So 9 plus 18 is 27. I now need to do 9 times 27. I'm going to do that over here on the side. That's 63. 18 plus 6 is 24. Okay, so 2, I'm going to just continue over here, 243 divided by 2. And I'm going to come over here and do that. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 4 twice. And then 2 goes into 3 once. And I'm almost out of room, but there's 1 left over. So my final answer is 121 and 1/2 centimeters squared. You could also say 121.5. So there's my final answer for the area of the trapezoid. Here is practice problem 2. I challenge you to pause the video and give this one a try. So base 1, base 2, and my height is the perpendicular line that connects the two of them. So I do not need this, and I do not need this. Okay, so my height is 12.4. My base 1 is 12, the other one's 30. Okay, so 12 plus 30 is 42. And I'm actually going to divide 42 by 2 first, because that's something that I can easily do. And I know that's 21. So I'm going to be doing 12.4 times 21 to get my final answer. So that's 4, 2, 1, placeholder, and now I'm doing 2 times 4, 2 times 2, and 2 times 1. And that is, adding that up, my decimal is going to go here because I have a one decimal number behind the decimal in the problem. So it's 260.4 inches squared is my area. So make sure you feel like you can determine the area of a trapezoid, and thanks for watching.